So we're here to look at this plant, and I might say this plant because it's all along the banks of the lake here. It's called reed mace, and it just has a multitude of uses, which I'll talk through in a minute, but I want to focus in on the main use at this time of year, which is the pollen. So the pollen's coming out, these are the flowers of the plant. Down the base here is the female part, up here is the male part that produces the pollen, and if I do this and just flick it, you see the pollen coming down, it's settling on the female part. Oh, yeah. Now if you look behind here, there are these brown cigar-like mature, well, what used to be flowers, and the brown bit there is basically what this is going to turn into. So having been fertilized by the pollen, the female flowers will mature into seeds that have fluffy pieces that are brown on the end and form that shape there. But you see the pollen, as with pretty much every stage of the plant, has an edible use. So if you catch that pollen, I'm not actually going to demonstrate it, but like if you bring a vessel, even like a bag, and tip the thing upside down and shake it, bash it, you catch it in the bag, and then you do that to a few of these flowers, and you can just use that pollen for baking. That's quite a unique flavour. It's almost a little bit cucumbery. So you can imagine biscuits that taste a little bit like cucumber, but it is quite charming. At other stages, you can use, before these mature, when this is still just like a tender flower bud held within the leaves, you can use it like asparagus. You can just peel the leaves off and use it just like asparagus, maybe boiled and served with a little bit of butter. Younger still, when you've just got leaf bundles with nothing in it, and there is one just down there, you can cut them or snap them off at the base and peel them down, and what's inside is a bit like heart of palm. It's basically the immature leaves, very tender, a lovely sort of soft white core to it, which again tastes a little bit like cucumber, and is a really nice salad, or you can cook it. And then underneath the water, you've got these long strips of roots. Well, they're, strictly speaking, they're called rhizomes, sort of halfway between the stem and a root, really. And those are full of starch. So you can roast them on a fire and just sort of drag the starch out with your teeth, or you can extract the starch and use it like a flour, or like a corn flour. And then also the roots have little tips to them, sort of young growing shoots, round about this time of the year actually, and those you can snap off, and they're just a delicious, slightly sweet, slightly nutty vegetable. So lots and lots of uses for this plant. And that's without getting into the fact that you can use them for weaving, use the leaves like this for weaving, which is not something I've done, but in other cultures, like in Native Americans' culture, they use every part of the plant for food, and they also do a lot of weaving, and there's a whole celebration around it. The thing with the roots under the water is that there's a huge bulk of that, there's a huge biomass of that. And if we were to, instead of doing what we do now, people clear this out from ponds and rivers because they think it's kind of choking up the water, and then they just discard it. Well, in doing that, we're discarding a lot of food. There's actually a great tonnage of food, which elsewhere we're cultivating wheat to try and get the same food, basically starch. If we were to see bulrush as a food source, it's not actually going to take any extra land, because here it is growing in a lake.